Fortunate enough to be joined by the great Dennis Dodd of CBS Sports. Dennis, I've been reading you for a long time. That is a compliment. That is not an age remark.
It can be interpreted either way, but just anything above ground at this point is a plus.
That's the way we take it. Okay, now, Big 12 Media Day. Obviously, Arizona, the Four Corner schools are here. Let me ask you this. Just looking back, how did we get to this point where the Pac-12 is basically gone and the Big 12 was one of the big recipients of it?
Well, massive mismanagement. I don't have to tell anybody by the Pac-12 and its officers and its presidents. And I think everybody has to take a little ownership in it. That it came to be like this.
Right.
Brett Yormark was aggressive in getting the four corner schools. Realignment was unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad.
Right.
My first memories of college football was watching O.J. Simpson in 1968 run to the Rose Bowl with USC. So, I said, boy, it's really warm there this time of year. And so that's what hooked me. I missed the Pac-12.
Now, you look at the Big 12. Now, Brett Yormark came in, and a lot of times you get commissioners that say they're going to do a bunch of stuff, and then they don't really do it. Yormark came in, and he said, not only we're going to get a linear deal, we're going to get everybody a raise, and we're going to expand. Check, check, check. In this day and age, especially with Pac-12 schools where you are always hearing about what was going to happen, it's kind of refreshing to see a guy come in here that just says, all right, I'm going to do this, and he does it.
Yeah, he was a name. Look, when we were trying to find out who the finalists were, who the people were going to replace Bob Bowlesby, nobody knew who Brent Yormark was. He was known in the industry, very accomplished. But to the average sports fan, no. And he absolutely wowed the presidents and then I guess whatever the smaller search committee when he presented his vision. And here we are today in Las Vegas, the Big 12 in Las Vegas. I mean, my first Big 12 game was 1977, watching Iowa State and Missouri. To think this could be this today is incredible.
Is to be, thinking back to the maturation of the Big 8 and then into the Big 12.
I go back to the Big 8.
Nebraska and Oklahoma and those kind of games. Yeah. Now, Utah is the preseason pick. That Utah has been the epitome of consistency and just being solid for as long as Kyle Whittingham has been there. What do you think about them as the preseason? And do you think that they should be the preseason number one?
Yeah, I think you got to pick them. I just talked to him at his availability just now. I said, there's something to be said for you personally going through 4 leagues, Kyle Whittingham, and really dictating terms instead of, we got to get used to this league. No, people have to get used to Utah.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be some of that here. I'm not going to say they're going to dominate because I think it's going to be one of those leagues where a different team possibly wins every year. But what they have now today with Cam Rising, those 2 running backs, and always stout defense, maybe an All-American tight end, they're the team to beat.
Right.
But they're about 4 or 5 you can put in that same sentence.
I was going to say, I think there's about 5 when you got Kansas, Kansas State, Arizona, Utah, and then, even Oklahoma State at this point as well. You
Absolutely.
So it's going to be a very competitive conference. Now, I think a lot of people look at it and they're like, the Big Ten and the SEC, they got the elite teams. Fair enough. But there's 5 legitimate preseason top 25 teams here. It's not like you're talking about kind of this also-ran conference.
Yeah, I had I do preseason top 25s in the offseason. I had 5 teams in there.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for that. I think they'll be very competitive. The old Big 12 was somewhat of a wide open league, didn't play much defense. I think this one will. I think college football's turning a corner where defenses will kind of gain back territory, if you will.
Right.
You saw that last year with Michigan. So I think there'll be a little bit of that, and that's why Utah fits right in. That's why Arizona, frankly, fits right in, which where they are right now. But if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance. That's still the case.
Right. Let's talk Arizona. They do have a quarterback. You got Noah Fafita. You got Teteroa McMillan coming back. Arizona has not had a long history of being able to string together success. Brent Brennan comes in, and, Dennis, in a weird way, a lot of times a coach has a honeymoon. But with this roster, a lot of people are expecting you to be able to win something now.
Yeah, no, I've heard. I don't know Brent Brennan. I'm going to meet him today or this week while they're here. I heard nothing but good news, good things about him from down in Arizona since he got there. He's a guy that obviously wanted to be there, has a connection to the school, goes back to Dick Tomey.
Right.
Everything you'd want in an Arizona coach. And, by the way, he can coach. When you're at San Jose State and you win the Mountain West, I don't care if it is the COVID year, you're doing something.
Yes.
So I think he'll fit right in. He gets it. He's a ball coach. And Arizona, again, will be – I think they're that team. It's a scramble for second place. If we think Utah is number one, Arizona could be right there.
Right, now let's talk Colorado. That's obviously, they get all the storylines, Deion, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter. Vegas and the preseason media poll not nearly as high as I think some Colorado fans would be. What are you looking for from Colorado this year, and what do you think is going to be the outcome?
Well, there's a lot of questions at Colorado. Year 2 under Deion, they come in with a 6-game losing streak, 4-8 last year, and I think Deion's approach was exposed in that he did this wonderful turnaround that basically lasted September.
Yeah, right.
Right. It was great. It was one of the most weird, fun experiences of my career going through that and being there. But they still have to figure it out on both lines.
Right.
And he didn't recruit or didn't know to recruit well enough to stock the offensive and defensive lines. Now, the question is, has he? Because you can't go anywhere until you match up there, whatever league you're playing in. They may have the number one pick in the draft in Shedeur Sanders. He was sacked 56 times. I can't remember what the stat was, but that's the most for any team in FBS in 5 years, 10 years, something like that. So he was beat up. They lost their best rusher, Dylan Edwards, to Kansas State. So I think there's some challenges ahead. Right. It's not going to be easy.
When you look at the Big 12, it's kind of it's a quarter. There's a quarterback and a running back. There's a strength to it. I mean, you look at Shedeur Sanders, you look at Noah Fafita. I mean, Avery Johnson is kind of the ultimate wild card in all of this. You get back Cam Rising. You've got Rocco Beck. Again, it's a fairly talented league at some marquee positions, Dennis.
It is. I keep saying it's the island of misfit teams, and I mean that in a good way because it's now 16 teams that, frankly, nobody else wants.
Right.
And in this age of realignment, that's really, really good.
Right.
That's the reason why this private equity money is so attractive because in 8 years when the contract runs out, they might still be together and they might re-up together. The money's pretty good. But you're talking about on the field. Yeah, I think that it's a league that come November 1st, everybody could have 2 losses. You could have a team running away with it. I mean, that was part of the death of the Pac-12, Mike, frankly, that everybody did have 2 losses by November, and they were out of the running.
Right.
Now, for the Big 12 and a lot of teams, the playoff meets them in the middle.
Right.
And that the champion is virtually guaranteed a spot. So it's going to be really interesting November 1st and I just talked to Brett Yormark. Right. He said the month of November is going to be key for us.
Lastly, what's the future of college athletics? Where are we? And again, just put your time machine on right here going forward. Though, where are we in 5 to 10 years? Do we have it? Is it even possible to speculate?
No, it's not possible to speculate because we're living it right now.
Right.
They're going to be compensated as some sort of employee-employer relationship, collective bargaining, and I've seen it. And I'm already done with it.
Yeah.
I mean, when I tell people, we've already seen Shedeur Sanders drive his Bentley to work.
Yes.
I'm okay with it as long as he produces on Saturday.
For sure. Exactly.
As long as Cam Rising, comes to the game and wins games for Utah, it's fine. The average fan doesn't care. The average fan wants to know, is my team going to beat the other team on Saturday? And what the NIL era, these 3 years have proven is the fan doesn't care.
Right.
In general. If the guy's making $1 million, $2 million, or nothing, they just want to win.
He just wants to win.
Right.
He is the great Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports. Many more years of this, Dennis. We very much appreciate you as always, my friend.
You got it. Thanks so much, Mike.
Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports.